Around like $400,000. Yeah, that's how much it would cost to own every skin in CS2. I mean, if you want to leave now, you can. You basically did just get your answer. Or did you? Well, I'm sure most of you are used to finishing early.
Recently, I came...
Are you really just going to accept a vague answer and no explanation? I mean, I could have just made up a number. I didn't give you a currency, explain how I'm pricing each skin, or tell you how I got my answer. So, let's start off this video by first defining what I mean by the cost to own every skin in CS2. Okay, before anything else, let me first explain what even qualifies as a CS2 skin. This would be any unique combination of a skin plus weapon. Yes, knives and gloves are included when I say weapon. For a slower audience, Fade is a skin texture that is applied to 28 different weapons. That would give us 28 unique CS2 skins that I have to include in the final calculated price. Anyone know why there's just a monkey on the screen? Oh, I mean, he's kind of fresh though. Yeah, I'm sponsored by Skins Monkey now. Don't have any friends to trade with? Don't worry. With countless CS2 skins already in stock, Skins Monkey is a trading site that lets you instantly trade your old skins for new ones. Sign up using the link in the description or enter code HARUT to earn up to a 35% bonus on your first deposit. And before making your first trade, enter code HARUT to earn up to $5 for free. Still don't have any friends? Well, Skins Monkey has your back. With 24/7 live support, they're there to keep you company. Have a single-digit credit score? Then freebies are for you, with free balance and skins given out daily. Check out Skins Monkey with the link in the description. It really does help out the channel and allow me to put food on the table. Now back to the video. Now that I'm back, let me clarify that we're not getting the price for all 1.6 billion skins. We're just trying to own one version of each skin here. Now you might point out that skins come in multiple wear conditions and can be either souvenir or stattrack, so it might be impossible to attach a single price to each skin. But don't worry, I already accounted for this. Because I am using one variation for each skin, this means I will not include stattracks or souvenirs. After all, these are still the same skin as their default version. And if you disagree with me, let me show you an example. As you can see, despite giving this man a fancy set of clothes, security at any CS2 related event is still not letting him in. Moving on to our wear conditions, the price of only one is going to be used per skin. Now picking which wear to use is a little bit tricky. Most skins have 5 possible wears ranging from factory new to battle scarred, but certain skins are an exception to this rule. So for any skin with all 5 available wears, I will simply be taking the price of the skin in field tested. This avoids the unnecessarily high price of a factory new skin, which are having their prices manipulated more than most of us would be by a tattooed goth girl with piercings, while on the other end of the spectrum, most battle scarred skins are just simply ass. For skins without the standard 5 wear conditions, I will take the price of the wear in the middle, and if there are 2 middles or only 2 available wears, I'll just use the cheaper of the 2. The next rule only applies to Dopplers and Gamma Dopplers, as these skins are a little bit freaky. Unlike your typical pattern-based skin, like a case hardened where the pattern is based on the pattern ID and the finish catalog never changes, Dopplers come in different phases, with each phase having its own finish catalog. This essentially makes each Doppler phase its own skin, but I make the rules here, so phases 1 through 4 are going to be bundled as one skin, while each Doppler gem will be counted as its own unique skin. And finally, I will be using USD for all pricing. Here in the States, pounds are only used to measure our overwhelming obesity rate.
Okay, ban the guy that just said weight maxing.
Oh, and I did forget to mention, rare patterns are not included. An AK case hardened pattern 661 is still just a case hardened. So, with every parameter set, that leaves us with 1,402 weapon skins, 492 knife skins, and 72 glove skins, for a total of 1,966 skins in CS2 that we are trying to get the price of. Now that we know what we're looking for, let's get to counting. Okay, $55.20 for the inheritance, 1 cent for a P250 sand dune, $12. Okay, I did genuinely consider manually counting the price of each skin until I realized there were medieval torture methods that I would have enjoyed more. Well, if we aren't going to sit here and count the price of each skin, how are we going to approach this? That's right, we will be using an API along with some code. First, we need to find a CS2 skin pricing API. Hearing that has probably left some of you as confused as a straight man at a femboy convention. But don't worry, being the intellectual that I am, I can break down what this means into simple terms.
What is an API? API stands for...
Okay, from what I understand, an API will provide us with all of the information we need to accurately price each skin. We need an API that can pull information from CS2 marketplaces and store values like weapon skin, wear condition, price, and so on for each respective listing across different marketplaces. However, the API can only hold that information within its software, so we need to also create a program that can request specific information from the API so that we can get an output that shows one price for every unique skin in CS2, and we can add that all up together for our final price. Okay, now that we're all on the same page, let's find an API we can use. Now, after thinking I was going to need to spend more money on an API than this entire YouTube channel has ever generated, I found CS Market API. I have zero affiliation with them, I'm just grateful they saved me money, which I will be using towards a very noble cause. And the final thing we're going to need to do before moving on to our second step is going to be getting our API key right here. Your API key is a unique identifier that lets the API know who is requesting to use it, so I have to blur it out. If my key shows that I'm a valid user, which means I have access to use the API, everything will go smoothly and the API can be called. However, if my API key is invalid, I die. Like I mentioned before, our API is useless unless we create a program that can turn its raw data into something meaningful for us to understand. So I mean, we should probably do that. We're going to need to create a script that can use CS Market API to get the price of every unique CS2 skin by following the rules I set earlier in the video. Thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not commit adultery, thou shalt not steal? Oh, wrong rules. Only one price for each skin, no stattracks or souvenirs, use field tested skins when applicable, the Doppler rule, and so on. CS Market API also has data from over 10 marketplaces, so we need to set a rule to use the lowest price among these marketplaces for each respective skin. If I stuck to using only one marketplace, you might be paying $10,000 for a field tested XM red leather on bit skins. But hey, I'm sure that's what it's worth to someone. Now that we know what we're going to have to code, let's do as the average 3-year-old does in Asia and start coding. Oh man, this is gonna take a while. And I'm done. So I did a little bit of mining off camera, and this is what we have. Now I could try to explain what each aspect of the code is accomplishing like those smart YouTubers do, but that would be like letting senile old men run a country. Probably not a good idea. Oh. So instead, here's the code for anyone who wants to take a look at it and pretend like they can understand. Well, now that we have the code, all that is left to do is run it. I will be using Google Colab as my environment because the top comment on a Reddit post from a year ago told me to do so. We just paste the code here, put in our API key, and press run. Now usually in a YouTube video, this is where there would be some sort of glaring issue with the code followed by a dramatic shift in tone, and 10 minutes of me trying to resolve the issue, feeling hopeless because I keep failing, and then finally finding the solution right as I was apparently about to give up. Okay, I wrote that before I ran my code, and it was supposed to cut to my code's perfect output, and I'd say something cool and funny about being better than everyone else, but I actually did end up running into some problems. So get ready for the stereotypical, oh no, everything went wrong segment of the video. As you can see, my program returned the weapon, skin template, wear condition, price, and marketplace used for each skin, which went exactly as planned. However, like most teen parents, I did not plan for 1,854 skins to be returned when I had previously mentioned that there was supposed to be 1,966. While I could say we're close enough, I could also claim I'm 6 feet tall when I'm only 5'10". Everything seems fine until the girl you're going out with is 5'11" and has you pinned up against the wall. Oh wait. Maybe everything is fine. The reason for this discrepancy is actually quite simple. Although this video probably won't be out for a few weeks, I am working on this as CS2 just released 2 new collections and the AK Aphrodite, which do not seem to be in the API's database yet. Not only that, but the API is categorizing all Dopplers as a single skin, which is fine for phases 1 through 4, but I did mention gems would be their own skin, so we're missing those. And Zeus's were not included, which might honestly have been an error on my part because I thought they'd get grouped in with pistols. So, to solve this in the simplest way possible, I'm just gonna manually add the missing 40 new skins, 7 Zeus skins, and 65 Doppler gems. And after what can only be described as a terribly inefficient way to use a spreadsheet, I finished adding these missing skins. This gives us our new total of 1,965 skins, which is exactly 1 away from the number we need. Now at this point, I could have gone back in my script, changed 1,966 to 1,965, and just gone about my day lying to all of you because you have way too much faith in online information. And believe me, I genuinely considered doing that. But because I was extremely annoyed over which one single skin I was missing, and not for the fact that I have any integrity in the content that I produce, I did not let this go. So I went and checked the count of each weapon in my spreadsheet and verified it with what CSGO Skins had, which is a database that has a bunch of skin information, which is where I found my culprit. The one skin that I was missing the price of was the MP5 Lab Rats. Pretty anticlimactic, I know. See, the MP5 Lab Rats belongs to the Black Site collection, which has as many skins as Nico has majors. Oh, my bad, it actually has more than that. That's right, this is the only skin in the entire collection and was only acquirable by having a Prime account and playing a game of Danger Zone. A bunch of you Counter-Strike unts probably got a PTSD flashback hearing that name get mentioned. And while at first I thought this was an issue with the API not having any information on this skin, I soon realized that just like my parents' divorce, I was the problem. Remember how I mentioned earlier that souvenir and stattrack skins are not accounted for? Well, this line of code right here does exactly that. And while it is working perfectly fine, it is also the root of our issue. See, the MP5 Lab Rats is actually the only skin in the game that is exclusively available in souvenir. So when my code is saying to ignore all souvenir variants of skins, it just ignores this skin altogether. Yeah, I'm not changing any code for this. I'm just gonna add you to the spreadsheet right here, and we're all good. With the last skin added to the spreadsheet, we just now need to add up the price of all 1,966 skins to answer our question of how much it costs to own every skin in CS2. But I mean, since I do already have you here, let me just waste a little bit more of your time before I give you the final answer. See, before I uploaded this video, I hosted a giveaway on my Discord for people to guess the total price of every CS2 skin themselves. Join my Discord to participate in cool events like this in the future. And one member, Taggerick, mentioned that you were actually already doing market analysis. So I began DMing this guy on Discord. Whoa, wait. He said this is for a college project. Guys, he's not a minor. We're all clear. Anyways, he ended up providing me with some interesting graphs about skin pricing that I'm going to share with you here. To explain these graphs without overcomplicating them, the first one shows that most CS2 skins are actually really cheap, but there are very few expensive items that cause the average price of every CS2 skin to be $274. The second graph shows that about 1,500 skins make up 50% of CS2's market value, while the remaining 100 or so skins make up the other 50%. This means that the very few high-end skins hold so much value that despite only accounting for less than 10% of all skins, they take up 50% of the market's value. And finally, as a fun little segment, I tried to contact a bunch of CS creators and traders to ask them how much they thought the total price for every CS2 skin would come out to. And for a Twitter account with legitimately only 2 followers, I actually got way more responses than I thought I would. So let's play a little game to see which creator was the closest. Our first contestant is ArrowCS, who legitimately responded to me a minute after I sent him the DM. Thank you, Arrow. While your guess of $11 million was completely off, you responded to me quicker than any of my friends do. Up next, we have Turbine, with his guess of a staggering $47. Maybe he knows something I don't, because who am I to question a man who crafted this beautiful skin? Moving to our next contestant, we have Exerpis, who definitely did not understand my question with his guess of $3 billion, but you know what? It's the thought that counts. Louis CS2 responded and just called me a slur, which was really uncharacteristic of him and uncalled for. Nah, I'm joking. He just made a 6-7 joke, which was arguably worse than if he just called me a slur, but sadly this is somehow the third closest guess. And as if things couldn't get any worse, second place also made a 6-7 joke, but added $100,000 at the end. But Osni CS was the second closest with his guess of $600,000 to $700,000. But with a guess of $346,783, we have none other than 3Clicks Philip. This was actually a pretty solid guess and placed him only about $70,000 away from the correct answer, which I will reveal shortly. However, I am unfortunately not Mr. Beast, so instead of $1 million, if you would like to claim your prize of 1 million Iranian rial, you know where to find me. Okay, now that I've exhausted every way to possibly stretch out this video, I guess it's finally time for the answer that you guys have been waiting for. $418,203.08. Yep, that's exactly how much it would cost to own one of every skin in CS2. What, you wanted some sort of big climactic reveal? Guys, I literally just added up every number on my spreadsheet. This was the least difficult part of making this video. But thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed, and join my Discord. Thanks. Bye.